This automation can generate hundreds of shorts by clipping long-form content on autopilot. And these shorts enable creators to expand their reach dramatically.
The reason to even have a podcast is more about the clips for organic social than the podcast itself. I literally did Daily V for the social media clips, not for the long form.
That's why Whoop launched the Content Reward Program. They're paying editors a serious amount of money to clip long-form content into short.
How do you guys work 9-to-5 jobs when you guys can make $50 per 100,000 viewers? I'm not even trying to be weird with God. Like, my clippers make more money than 9-to-5 workers. Like, no, I'm not even trolling y'all, bro. But like, what the fuck?
The problem is editing is expensive and slow. That's why I built this no-code automation in make.com. It clips and posts automatically for just a few cents per run. No editors, no heavy costs, just drag, drop, and then you're done. In this video, I'll show you exactly how it works step by step. And if you want to start offering this as a service straight away, you can grab the ready-made template inside my community. But let's get started. Okay, so before we get into exactly how to build this, I need to explain how this works. So you can see here we have the full scenario, and in order to trigger this scenario, we have to fill out a form over here in which we have set up on Airtable. Now Airtable is going to be this form that we use in order to essentially trigger this scenario to run and let it know which video we want to create clips for. So you can see here we have a form and it's asking us for a video URL, and I have selected this video here of Mark Cuban where he's talking about AI. I'm going to bring it over here, put it in the form. We're going to select the amount of clips that we want to use. I'm going to select 3 or 2 clips because it's quite a short video, and then you would put in your email and press get clips. When you press get clips, then that's what's going to trigger this first Airtable scenario. So when we press that, it's going to trigger this and it's going to come through to here. This first module here called create clips is the one that's essentially going to create the clip. So it's going to look through all of the video and it's going to select parts which would be good for clips. Now, because these clips take quite a while to create, maybe a minute, 2 minutes, we're going to come through here and we're going to check if this clip is ready. If the clip is not ready, then it's going to choose this route down here, and it's essentially going to come back to this repeater and check again and keep checking until the clip is ready. Whenever the clip is ready, then it's going to come up here, and when it comes up here, this is going to retrieve all the details about that clip. Now the software we are using is called Clap, and when you create a clip with the software Clap, it will also output a virality score. So this is essentially telling you how good the clip is, how likely it is to go viral. For us, we only want to post clips that are quite good or that have a high virality score. That's why we have a filter here, which will filter out all of the clips that are below 80%. So 80 out of 100, if it's below that, we don't want to post it. Whenever the clip is above 80, because there may be multiple clips, because you could select maybe 4 or 5 clips, this iterator is going to go through each clip. So we put the iterator there so we know if multiple clips come out, then it's going to go through each of them. Now you can see here we have another module called create a high resolution short. So the first clips that we get are going to be low resolution, and this is essentially going to say all of the clips above 80 now create a high resolution short that we can post to the social media of our choice. And when it does that, then again, because it takes some time, it's going to poll and check to see if the clip is ready. If it's not ready, it's going to choose this route up here and go back over here and keep checking until it is ready. And when it is ready, then it's going to come up here and it's going to post it to all of the social media platforms of our choice and then store it back over in Airtable. Now to show you exactly what one of these clips could look like, here's a clip that was created by Clap on the video that we selected of Mark Cuban.
Have you guys looked at Notebook LM? No. Oh my God. So bring up Notebook LM, the podcast feature.
Okay.
It is insane. So literally, like, you've got your rundown list. Mm-hmm. You could feed your rundown list into it and have it go look up things and do summaries of all those things, and then have it create a podcast. What? And the podcast sounds like real.
Wait, I don't understand. So, like, I'm into listening to an advice podcast. I'm listening to Joe Rogan. I'm listening to whatever, murder podcast. And it mashes the three together?
No. So, like, you just want to do a general podcast like this about all the different topics, like a traditional radio show type thing, right? And you take your rundown list like you guys have. And right. You know, like you guys have all your topics. And so all your topics,
gotcha.
Right? And then you send it out and say, do the homework on these with
we should do that.
and then put it in there, and you'll have these two people talking just like we're talking.
Oh my
But
God.
oh, and it's insane. It's insane. Like for business, it's great because like you can take your training manuals, your onboarding manuals, all these different things, and because kids particularly they don't want to read, they just want to listen. So you can be walking, taking your walk, or on a bike or whatever, and listening to your training guidelines that sounds like a regular podcast, and they make it entertaining. But that sounds kind of scary on one end. But you can start training.
So you get the general idea. It's able to take a video like this where the people are talking, and it's able to create a podcast clip or a short in which we can post to YouTube or TikTok or whichever platform. Now, we're going to get into exactly how we can build this. So firstly, we need to come over here to Airtable in order to create this form, because this is going to be the first base. This is where we put in the video URL and where we select how many clips to choose. So in order to create this form on Airtable, firstly, obviously you're going to have to sign up if you don't have an account. But if you do have an account, then you can come down here to where it says create essentially a new table, and we'll come in here and build our own app. And because I already have it built, I'm just going to come into the one that I have. And when you build this app, there's two things that we need. We need a video URL, we need the amount of shorts, and we need a clips column as well. Now, because I maybe use this for outsource, like I may give people access to this, I've selected email as well, but you don't need this in order for this scenario to work. I've just put it in. But for this one, you're going to need URL, amount of shorts, and clips. And to create them, you'll come over here to press the plus sign. And for the video URL, obviously it's going to be a URL column. So we'll search up URL, we'll click this, and we'll call this video URL, and we'll press create field. Now we have that field. Next one we need is the amount of shorts, which is going to be a number field. So I'm going to search up number, select that one, and call this amount of shorts. I'll press create field, amount of shorts. I'll press create field, and then the last one you can see we need is clips. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to search for attachment, I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to call this the actual clip. So I'll call that clips, and then again press create field. Now I've already created them, so I'm going to delete these. But when you have your columns created, then you can come up here to where it says forms, click this where it says forms, and because you most likely won't have a form already created, you're going to have to press create a new form. Now when you press create a new form, it's going to automatically select the table that we've just done. So you can see here in the form, we already have all of the details of the columns from the database that we've just created. So you press create form, and when you press create form, it will bring you to a page like this where you can edit the form. Now if you didn't want to have email, then it obviously wouldn't be there, or if I wanted to get rid of this, I can just click it, press these buttons, and remove it. Now because we want to use this form to trigger make.com, there's a certain thing we need to do. So basically when you create this form, it should be completely fine, but you'll just have to come down here to where it says redirect URL, and this will be it will be off for you. So you have to turn it on, and you need to put in a redirect URL. Now to get that redirect URL, we need to come over here to make.com, and we need to build the first module in this scenario. So I'm going to click here to create a new scenario. Again, if you haven't made or if you haven't built anything in make.com, you will firstly come over here to make.com and create an account. When you create an account, come over here to press create a new scenario, and when you press create a new scenario, it will bring you to a scenario just like this one here. When it brings you to a blank scenario, you're going to come in here and select the first module. Now because we need that redirect URL, we're going to come over here to where it says Airtable, and we are going to look for the watch responses. In this watch responses, this is where we're going to get the URL from. So you're going to come over here to where it says add, and you're going to give this a new name. I'm going to call it AI clipping, and then you will press save on that. When you press save on that, it will give you this URL, and this is the URL we're going to use in order to trigger this make.com scenario whenever the form gets filled out. So I'm going to copy this from the clipboard, I'm going to press save on that, and I'm going to come over here to Airtable where we have the redirect URL, and I'm going to put the URL in here by just pasting it in. Now on this URL, it will not have the last part that I have highlighted. That won't be in. So this is something that you're just going to have to type in, and it's quite simple. It's just a question mark record underscore ID equals bracket record underscore ID bracket. And then you press save on that, and then this form is ready and it's going to trigger this make.com scenario. So what we're going to do now is give it a quick test. So if I come over here to make.com and I right click this and I say run this module only, I can come back over here to this form, make sure I publish it, and then I will open this form and we'll send through a test. And we'll send through a test form. So I'm going to press get clips. It's going to redirect me to that URL. I'll press continue, and then if I come over here, you'll see in make.com it has received that record ID that we've added onto the end of that URL. Now don't worry if that's a little bit too technical. That would be the most technical part out of the way. Now after we have that, basically Airtable is done. Now we have the form, we have all the database, and that's all we need. So if we come over to Airtable now, after we have filled out that form, you will see all of the details that we fill out on that form will get stored in the database that we've created like this. So you can see all of the URLs that get filled out on the form will be stored in the database, the amount of clips, etc. So you have your forms over here, everything gets stored into the database whenever somebody fills it out. Now the second module we need over here on make.com is we're going to search up again Airtable, and we're going to press get a record. Now because we've gotten the ID from the previous module, we're going to come over here, we're going to select the table that we just created. My one is called AI clipping. Now make sure when you're creating this table you give it a good name. So mine is called AI clipping. You give it a name whichever you want, but this is the name you're going to select in here, whatever you call the table. Now because we only have one table, I'm going to select the one that we just created, and it's going to search for the record ID which we got in this previous module here. As you can see, we have the record ID. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select that record ID. Now this is going to output all of the details from this record. So if I copy this and I come in here, again do a test, I put in the record ID, you can see that this outputs the video URL and the amount of shorts that we need. So that's all we need from this module. Okay, so now we have all of the details from the form that was filled out. The next module we need is the clipping software. So we're going to send over them details with the URL and the amount of clips we want over to the software, and that's going to return the clips that we can post on social media. So in order to do that, we're going to come over here and we're going to add another module, and this is going to be the HTTP make a request. So we're going to come down here to the make a request and we're going to select that. Now we're going to do this a couple of times in this video, so I will leave in the description, I will leave all of the instructions so you can just copy and paste it to make it a bit quicker for you. Now obviously if you want to make this and you don't want to go through all of the stress of building yourself, join the community and you can just download it and it will be pre-built for you. But if you're doing this manually, then I will leave this document in the description of everything that we need to put into these HTTP requests. Now this is essentially going to be the API to trigger the software to make the clips. So in here in the first request for the URL, we're going to use this software called Clap. So I'm going to come over here to the instructions. I'm going to copy the first URL. As you can see, there is a couple of URLs. There's 5 of them. So I'm going to copy step 1, which we are doing now. I'm going to come over here, put it in here, make it a post request. As you can see in here, the method is post. So I'm going to come over here, method equals post. And for the headers, I'm going to type in what it says over here. So you can see the first header, we need to type in authorization. Come back over here. And then in the value, we need to put an API key. You can see here, it says put in your API key. Now, in order to get that API key, we need to come over here to this software called Clap. And this is the one that we're essentially triggering for make.com. This is the one that is going to turn your videos into shorts, as you can see there. And so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to log in. Firstly, create account or log in. I'm going to log in over here. And after you log in, it's going to bring you to this dashboard. Now, if you haven't created any clips before, then you won't have this video here. This is only because I've created a clip of this video. But if you haven't, there should be nothing there. Now, in order to get an API key, we're going to come over here and we're going to select API. And over here is when you're going to press create new API key. Now, when you press this for the first time, it's going to ask you for some billing details. And that's essentially going to take your card details, but it's not going to charge you until you actually create clips. Now, each clip is going to cost you anywhere from 50 cents to $1. So just be aware of that when you put it in. But I'm going to get more into detail on the specific cost of each clip further in the video. But just know that when you press here on the new API key, it's going to ask you for some details and some billing information. Now here, when you press new API key, it's going to give you an API key, as you can see right here. And when it gives you an API key, just copy this to your clipboard. You're going to come back over here to make.com, and in this section here, you're going to firstly type in bearer and then paste your API key. When you paste your API key, that's all you need. Okay, so now after your API key is in, we're going to need to create another header. As you can see over here, we have content type. So we need to copy this, come back over here, add a header. We're going to add another header and we're going to put in what we just copied. And then the value is going to be this, which is application JSON. So copy this, come back over here and paste it into here. Now the next thing we need to do is come down here to where it says body. We're going to select raw. We're going to select the content type as application JSON. And then we're going to input the request content, which we can get from over here. We're just going to copy this. We're going to bring it over here and we're going to paste it in here. Now everything in here should be fine. This is essentially telling the software what type of clip we want to make. Now if you want to change anything here, like the target duration, maybe you might want to make that shorter or longer. You can see we have max and min duration. All of that is completely customizable. I found that these settings are fine, but the only thing we need to change up here is we need to get rid of the YouTube URL and we need to put in the actual URL that the person has submitted in the form. So you can see here we have the video URL from Airtable. I'm going to select that and now we can click save and this module is done. Now because this module is the analyzed video, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to rename this module so we know what it is. So I'm going to right click this, press rename, put in the new name, and this is going to be the analyze video. Now like we said previously, it takes a while to create these videos, so I'm going to now put in another module which is a repeater, and we're going to put that here, and we're going to select the initial value as 1 and we're going to tell it to repeat 5 times. We're going to click save. That's all we need to do with this one. This is essentially going to tell it to keep repeating until the video is finished. Now the next module we need is a tool called a sleep module. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to look up sleep. I'm going to select this one, and this one is just going to delay the scenario from moving forward for a certain amount of seconds. For me, I'm going to select this as 30 seconds. So each time this comes back here, it's going to wait 30 seconds and check if the video is finished. Now the module to actually see if the video is finished is going to be a HTTP. Again, it's going to be make a request, and this time, as you can see in this one, we have as the method as post. This time the method is going to be a get method. As you can see over here in step number 2, it's going to be check the status. It's going to be a get method, and we're going to use this URL. So we're going to copy this. We're going to come over here and we're going to paste it in there. Now you can see down here we have this thing called task ID. We need to swap this with the actual task ID from the analyze a video. So in order to do that, we need to run this API request once. So now one thing I forgot to mention is over here we need to select the amount of shorts that we want to create. So you can see down here we can select here the target clip amount. We're going to get rid of these number ones and we're going to put in the actual target clip amount, which is the amount of shorts returned from Airtable. I'm going to come over here, select the amount of shorts. We're going to click save. Now we need to run this module once. So when we press run this module, if we right click this, press run this module, then we can come down here and put in a random YouTube video URL, the amount of shorts that we want to create, let's say 4, and make sure that your API key is in here where I told you before. When you click OK on this, then this module is going to return all of the details that is associated with this API. I'm going to click in here, run this module, put in a random YouTube video URL, the amount of shorts, I'll just select 1, and then we'll press OK. As you can see over here, this module will return some data, and this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for this ID that returns after we have submitted a YouTube video URL. Now we can come over here and we can test this to see if it's working. So I'm going to run this module. I'm going to put in the ID from this one over here, which is this. I'm going to press OK. Now you can see it returns the details on them clips. So if we come down here to the data, you can see that the status on this clip is still processing. So that's why we would have to keep the repeater going, so it keeps checking after every 30 seconds of the sleeper. It's going to check again, and when this turns ready, then we're going to move on. So the next thing we need to do is we need to set up that filter so we know to continue forward if it's ready, or to recheck again if it's not ready. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to select the router module. In this router module, we're going to have two options or two routes to take. And the first route up here is going to be whenever the clips are ready. So I'm going to select ready. I'm going to label it ready, and down here I'm going to say whenever this status is equal to ready, then it's going to go up to this route. And whenever this status over here, if I come down here and I press status, whenever that is equal to processing, then it's going to come down the second route down here. Now if it equals processing, we're going to bring it down to this route, and we're going to select an array aggregator, as you can see over here, array aggregator, and we're going to select the source module as the repeater. So now this knows whenever you come down this route and it's still processing, it's going to come down here and essentially send it back to the repeater to check again if these clips are ready. Now whenever they are ready, we're going to come up here and we're going to get the clip's title and the virality score. So again, when we come up here after the clips are ready, search the HTTP, go to the make a request, and this time it's going to be get the short idea. So it's going to be a get request, and this is the URL that we're going to use. So I'm going to copy this URL. I'm going to come over here to the URL section and put it in here. Make sure to get rid of that. Over here it's a get request, and that's all we need. Now you can see up here it has output ID, and this is what we need to get from the previous HTTP module. So whenever it's ready, it's going to get the output ID of the clip. So we're going to come over here, get rid of the output ID, and instead swap it for the ID that is over here. So I'm going to select this one, the check if clip is ready, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to put it in here, so the ID if the clip is ready. Now we can click save on that. I'm going to rename this module. We're going to rename it to the get short ideas. Come over here, rename this to get short ideas, and we can click save on that. Now the next module we need after that is an iterator, and this is essentially going to go through each clip if there is multiple clips. So I'm going to select iterator. Now over here in the iterator module, we're going to use the data that we get back from this module here, which is getting the short ideas. So we're going to come over here and we're going to tell it to iterate through each video that comes out. So you can see here, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select this data, and this is going to iterate through each video. Now one thing I have to mention is if we have not ran this module, then we won't have all of these details over here. So you can see over here I have all the details from the get short idea, like the virality score, etc. But when you're first building this, if you've not ran this, then it won't be able to know which details is being returned. So I'd advise you that as you are building this, just run each of these every time you put it in. So you can see here for this one, we need the actual data output ID from this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the last run here. I'm going to get the output ID, which is from here. I'm going to bring it over and I'm going to right click this and press run this module only. Put in the output ID from the previous module and press OK. If the clip is ready, then it will return all of the details that comes with this module, and then that's where we'll get all of the details like the virality score and the data from that module. So now in here, make sure that when you put the iterator, you put in the data. Over here where it has a filter, this is where we're going to tell it only pass through the clips that have a good virality score. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to look for the data in the previous module which says virality score. So you can see it right here, and we're going to say whenever the virality score, we're going to come down here to where it says numeric operators is greater than 80, then it's going to pass through. So whenever we have a virality score above 80 out of 100, pass through and post that clip. The next thing we need to do is we need to create another HTTP request. So I'm going to come in here, HTTP, make a request, and we are going to put in the new URL. Now this one is going to be the create a high resolution short. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to bring it over and I'm going to put it in the URL section. Now, if you pay attention, you can see that the method over here for this one is a post request. So I'm going to come over here to the method. I'm going to change this to post. In the header, you can see we need the authorization and the API key. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to come down here to where it says headers. I'm going to copy this where it says authorization, and I'm going to put in the same API key that we got from the start of the video over here on clap. So the same API key that you created over here, you're going to use the whole video. So I'm going to put in the API key. I forgot to mention, in this previous module, you will have to do the same thing where you put in the API key, just put in authorization and then the API key as well. But as you see over here in this module, the URL, we have a output ID and the short ID. Now, in order to get them output ID and the short ID, it's going to be from the previous modules that we've just done. So you can see over here, we have the output ID, which comes from check if the clip is ready. So I'm going to swap that output ID over here with check if the clip is ready ID. And then for the short ID, we're going to get that from the get short ID. So I'm going to get rid of that short ID and I'm going to select this one, which is from the get short ID. So I'm going to select this and I will click save. Now this is going to create the high resolution short or the high resolution video that we can post. Now for this one, we need to do the same thing over here, where we check if everything is ready, and if it's not ready, then we are going to repeat it again. So for this, I'm just going to copy this, what we have here. So I'm going to press Command Shift and bring my mouse all the way over here. I'm going to press Command C so I can copy it and bring it over here and press Command V, and it's going to paste it. So I'm going to connect this up. Now we need to change a couple of things. The repeater module, that can stay the same. Sleep module can stay the same. For this one, we need to check if the clip is ready, but we need to check if the clip is ready for this one. So for this one, we need to change the URL. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to come up here to where it says, so you can see we just created the high resolution short. Now we need to get the high resolution short. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to copy this URL, bring it over here and swap this URL for this one. You can see in this one, we have a couple of things that we need to swap out. We need to swap out the output ID, which we get from the short whenever it's finished. So which we get from over here, check if clip is ready, find the ID and select that. For the short ID, we are going to get rid of this and we're going to come up here to get short idea. We're going to select the ID from there. And for the export ID, we're going to come up here to the create a high resolution short. And we're going to get this export ID from here. Now when we click save, also make sure that your authorization bearer API key is in here. So you're going to type in bearer and API key like before and click save. This should be ready. We just need to change this one because it is a copied. So we're going to come in here and we're going to change this to the repeater module. And we're going to click save. Now this one is ready to go. This is going to create the high resolution video. It's going to come over here, check if it's ready. If it's not ready, it's going to repeat that process again. And it's going to come back over here, check if it's ready, and keep doing that until it is ready. Now, whenever it is ready, we need to post it to all of our social media accounts. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select 2 social media accounts for this video, but you can select as many as you want. For me, I'm going to post it to LinkedIn and YouTube. So I'm going to post a short to LinkedIn and a short to YouTube. So in order to do that, we're going to come over here and we're going to come over here to HTTP. And at this time, we're going to select get a file. Now for the file URL, we're going to use the one from the previous module, which is the getting the high resolution short. So whenever it's ready, it's going to output a src URL, as you can see here. We're going to select that and that's going to get the file. But in order to upload that to YouTube, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to search up YouTube. I'm going to select that. I'm going to press upload a video. I'm going to come over here and add a connection. So I'm going to add it to whichever YouTube I am. So I'm going to say my YouTube connection. We'll just call it that. We'll press yes and we'll sign in with Google. After you sign into your YouTube account from Google, then you will have all the options here to post a video. So for the title, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to come down to where it says get short ideas, and this will actually output a pretty decent title for you. So if you come into the data section, and you if you go over here to where it says name, this will give you a decent name for the video or for the short. For the file, then we're going to select this previous module over here. So you can see in here, you can just select it from there. The video category, most of my videos will be science and technology. Privacy, I'm going to select this as public. And in the description, whenever you are posting a short, it's always good to put in hashtag shorts so YouTube knows it's an actual short and it doesn't try and post it as an actual video. For the rest of these, we'll keep it the same. We'll click save. And now whenever this creates a video, it's going to come in here, download the file and post it to YouTube just like that. Now, in order to post it to other social media platforms, we'll just do this process, copy and paste it, except we'll change out YouTube for whichever social media platform we're doing. Now, for the last thing, I always want to save these clips. So I'm going to come over here to Airtable. I'm going to select update a record. Firstly, select the table that we created, which is AI clipping. I'm going to ask us for an ID. So I'm going to select that table. It's going to ask us for a record ID. I'm going to come back here to the first module that we created, which it returns a record ID. I'm going to come in here, and whenever you get a new clip, I'm going to come in here, change the file URL, and I'm going to use the URL of the file that we just uploaded. So again, down here to the get high resolution short, and I'm going to select the src URL. For the file name, I'll use the one from the get short ideas. Come down here to get short idea. I will use the name. This is going to save all of the clips that we post. It's going to save it over here in the clip section of the database or of the forms. Now I'm going to do this once more for LinkedIn, so you can see it working for LinkedIn as well. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to copy and paste this. So I'm just going to clone this. I'm going to come over here. And we're going to connect this up to here as well. And we are going to, instead of YouTube this time, we're going to search up LinkedIn. LinkedIn. We are going to create a new user video post. Bring that over, connect it up. Obviously sign into your LinkedIn account by pressing add here. You're going to select the previous module, which is this one, as a file. For the title, again, come down here to get short idea, press data, give it the name that it outputs, and that should be it. For the content, you can put in just the name again. It does it fine, or descriptions even. Put in the descriptions that the software outputs, and we'll click save. And now this is going to post it to YouTube. I'm just going to clone this again, bring it down here, and it's going to do the same job. Now there's one thing that's crucial that we must do. Over here again, we must create this filter. So whenever the data output, the status equals processing, then it's going to come up here to the array aggregator and retry. But whenever the data is ready, so I'm going to come down here and select whenever the status equals to ready, then it's going to continue through and post the clip. Make sure you do this for each social media platform. So whenever the status equals ready, it's going to come through here and it's going to post it to the social media platforms. And now we should be done and we are ready to test this fully to see if it works. But one quick thing we need to change, because I made a mistake as I was recording this video, is we need to come over here to where it says create a high resolution short, and instead of using the short ID that we previously used, we're going to use the one that the iterator outputs. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to put in the new short ID, which is this one here. It's this ID here, and we're just going to swap that around. So swap the old ID, for the old short ID for this one here, and that's for the case whenever there's multiple videos. So just quickly do that. And also, as we change the short ID in this one to the one from the iterator, then we are also going to come over here and we're going to change this one in here to the one again from the iterator. So I'm going to select the ID again, and now that's the only changes that you will need to make. And now you can run this to see if it works. Now obviously download the you can download this whole scenario from my community, so you don't have to worry about any of this. It will be all pre-made. But if you're building this by yourself, make sure you make them changes if you are creating multiple videos at once. So if you're creating more than one short clip, then you're going to need to use the ID from the iterator, because this is going to go through each of them one by one. So I'm going to run this now. I'm going to click run once. We're going to run this anyway. I'm going to clip this video of Joe Rogan and Mark Zuckerberg talking about AI. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to get the video URL from here, or even just up here. I'm going to get that video URL. I'm going to come over here to the Airtable form. I'll put the URL in there. I only want 2 clips, so I'm going to select 2. And for my email, I'll just put in my normal email. And then we can press get clips. And if we come over here to make.com, this has received the video URL, and now it is creating the clip. So you can see here, this has triggered and it is now processing each of these clips. It's gone through here to the repeater. This is going to sleep for 30 seconds. It's going to check if the clip is ready. If the clip is not ready, it's going to come back around here, sleep for 30 seconds again, and check and keep checking until the clip is ready. Okay, so then after a few tries, the clip has gone through and the clips are both ready. It will come through here and it will let through any clips that are above that 80% threshold that we set. It will come through here and then it will create the high resolution, as you can see here. It retried 2 times as it wasn't ready the first time, and then it came through here and it posted it to our YouTube and then stored it in the Airtable, and then came through here. It had an error in the LinkedIn, but we fixed that, and then it posted it to LinkedIn as well. So these 2 clips came through. Only one of the clips was over 80%, so it posted that clip to YouTube and LinkedIn. But if the 2 clips that we had specified in the form, if both of them were over 80, then it would have posted both clips to YouTube and LinkedIn. But we can come over here to Airtable now and we can have a look at the clip that was just created.
Being able to do that in kind of physical interactions where you're just like, you're interacting with people and you can just like use an AI augmentation to be able to get extra context or help you think through something or remember something.
Okay, so you get the general idea. We've been able to just put in a URL and specify how many clips we want. And once we put that into the form and send it off, Make in the background will go ahead, figure out which clip is the best and post them directly to whichever social media platforms that we specify. Now this is obviously going to save a lot of time to any clipper, or if you wanted to start clipping. If you want to download this full scenario, you can go down to the first link in the description, which is my WAP, and we'll have this full scenario so you can just download it and start using it straight away. Like I said before, if you want to use the instructions and build it manually, I'll leave that as the second link. It's completely free, so you can just go in there and start building this out yourself. But make sure to leave a like, subscribe and comment what you want to see next in my future videos.